Yo, yo. We'll be getting right to it. I gotta make sure everything's working. I think one of my favorite questions that people leave on every single stream on YouTube is, why is there a starting soon screen that takes so long? What's going on? Well, is this better? Now you can actually see me just scrambling to make sure all the buttons are doing what they're supposed to do. Now you know. Are you amazed? Whoa! 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 It's here. It's here. The ban announcement is here. Oh God. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I can handle it. Ooh, all right. If I do this, does it work? Looking for a game to capture. What if I do this? Perfectly sized. Perfectly sized. Okay. We go like this. Yes. Yes. Except for this part here where it's like, what? Can't read. Look at that. Look at that, you guys. Those are numbers. I mean, I need my chat with me. I need you guys today, okay? It's actually really important. Absurdly important. By the way, where the heck is this chat box? Let's turn that down. The chat box is over here. Look, it's not working at all. You guys aren't even showing up. Need you. All right, I at least got YouTube. Which, where are you at? Yeah. Yeah. There we go. We'll put you right there. All right. Ooh. Ah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Prof, what's going on? Yes, only pay attention to the YouTube audience. I try to pay attention to both. I try to be an honorable lover of both communities, but one is a little louder than others. All right. Launch the fleet. Launch the fleet. I can't believe we're doing this. First and foremost, I'm sorry for your eyes, guys. It's early for me too. There you go. We've dark moded. Standard. We did it, Patrick. We saved standard. What happened, guys? What happened? Last week, there was like all this buzz because in the arena store, somebody tried to buy a deck that included Monstrous Rage, and a pop-up came up saying this deck includes banned cards in standard. It's not like a mistaken identity crisis of alchemy where Monstrous Rage is banned. It said this, you are trying to buy a card that is banned in standard. That's what it said on arena, and people were like, oh my God, they're gonna do it. They didn't do it. I thought everyone agreed Beanstalk and Rage needed to go. Well, here's the problem with that. When you say everyone, you can't base your everyone on I watched a Brian Kibler video and agreed with it, therefore everyone agrees with me. Unfortunately, that is not exactly how the world works. That is a good video, by the way, and I encourage you guys to watch Kibler's video on standard. But yeah, they like it as it is. They like Pixie. They like Beans. And they like Monstrous Rage. Ah! All right. Suck it up, Buttercup. Ooh. Tarkir, you got work to do. Now we're hoping that Tarkir can do this. We're hoping that some kick-ass Timmy dragons can do this. Make this format a little spicy again. What do you guys think? You guys think some 4, 5, and 6 mana dragons are gonna save us? All right. Next up, Pioneer. No changes. What happened to Pioneer? It's been abandoned. But you know what? Right on our way. Right on our way. You know what Pioneer is? Honestly, it's standard. I got to play it last week to make some sponsored content. I played Explorer. I played against 3 decks that were... I was like, these are standard decks. These are 100% standard decks. All right, Modern. Underworld Breach is banned. Prof, aren't you on vacation? Prof was in my chat a second ago. Get back on your beach. All right? Order another tropical drink. But yep, you nailed it. I mean, I think people saw it, right? I think like people saw it coming. People saw it coming. The Underworld Breach, the last 2 events, it's exactly the type of deck that gets banned. Too fast, too solitaire, too frustrating to watch on camera, and they didn't want to just turn right around and ban Mox Opal, did they? They didn't want to do that. If you haven't seen Prof's video, look up, go to Tolarian Community College, and you'll see that there's a video about Underworld Breach being banned. He released it a week ago, which I thought was a hell of a move. Very cool. They probably still need to ban Opal. It's possible. I'm stunned that Opal got unbanned in Modern. I'm truly stunned. This is like an insanely expensive card that was broken from day one. Oh, he's back from vacation. He was on Whatnot? Okay, fine. I hope he had a good one. I hope he had a good one. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, when Dominaria United rotates out, will losing Binding make the deck unplayable? I don't think so. There's already at least 2 or 3 removal spells that reduce in cost. You look at Ride's End. Became a 4 of in the deck. We thought it was gonna die. Remember when we thought it was gonna die when the Capenna lands rotated? Yeah, how'd that work out? Okay. When does Eldraine rotate? Asking for a friend. When does Wilds of Eldraine actually rotate? It was a fall set. That used to mean it would get another year, but now it rotates based on the year? Like in January? What January does it rotate in? January of what? January 2027. Is that true? What year is it? What year is it now? Somebody, I'm starting to doubt my own brain. Help me. What year is it now? Thank you, Niles, for being a Cool Kids Club member. Caca. It's 2025. Shit. That's Jesus. I was hoping I was wrong. 2 more years of Monstrous Rage and up the beanstalk. And 3 of Pixie, right? That's this town ain't big enough. Okay. All right, Tarkir, you got work to do. Final Fantasy has work to do. So apparently they took an absolute explosive incendiary device to a few other formats here as we scroll. In Legacy, Sowing Mycospawn is banned. And Troll of Khazad Doom is banned. What? Huh? All right, I need to interview some legacy players in chat, man, because this is crazy. But we'll get down. We'll read that in a minute. Yeah. Wow. I've been telling people this is busted. I've been telling people Troll of Khazad Doom is absolutely busted. All right. Pauper. Basking Brood Scale is banned. Koldatho Rebirth is banned. Wait, do they have the Convoke deck in Pauper? Deadly Dispute is banned? They got something against card draw. Okay. Prophetic Prism is unbanned. Okay. Hey, guys, we're unbanning. High Tide is unbanned. Really? Is this card fine? Huh? Okay. Anyway, Alchemy, Explorer, etc., etc., etc. No changes. No changes to Brawl. How could this happen? All right. Let's bring it up. It's time for your daily dose of actual internet reading, brought to you by your favorite internet reader, CovertGoBlue. Oh, wait, hold on. You forgot about him. You thought he was dead. I bring to you the one, the only. CovertGo Nerd. All right, settle in. Howdy, gamers. That is not how Carmen talks. I did not realize that was Carmen. My name is Carmen Clemperens. I'm a senior game designer on Magic's play design team. Welcome to the first banned and restricted announcement of 2025. The last update to the banned and restricted list saw a ton of changes to the landscape of non-rotating Magic formats. And this update is the next step in keeping those formats fun. Between a round of modern regional championships, broad shifts within the legacy metagame, and Pauper's narrowing metagame, there's a lot here to sink our teeth into. But as usual, we'll be on weekly MTG on twitch.tv Magic tomorrow, April 1st. That's why they didn't release this tomorrow, because, yeah, probably. To discuss these changes. Well, I guess there's still time for a standard ban tomorrow, right? It could happen. It could totally happen. To jump to our discussion of a particular format, click below. There's going to be discussion of Brawl? Oh, God. Let it be. Let there be discussion of Brawl. All right. Let's start in Standard with Jadine Clemperens. No changes. Serenity. Standard is flourishing, and there are no changes to the format with this announcement. Our approach to Standard banned and restricted updates remains unchanged. We are committed to leaving the format as untouched as possible from one rotation to the next, banning cards only if something truly problematic to the health of the format emerges. Once a year, right before rotation, we'll consider more nuanced changes with the goal of making the format as fun and dynamic as possible for the duration of the next rotation cycle. We aren't to that once a year moment yet, and both Tarkir Dragonstorm and Magic the Gathering R/Final Fantasy TM will have a chance to make their mark on Standard before the format rotates with Edge of Eternities. The format rotates with Edge of Eternities, guys. Huh? Okay, so they are doing something. They are doing something in fall this year. Am I crazy? Am I taking crazy pills? What? I thought that we rotated by year now. Did I miss something? Am I crazy? Dominaria is going. Is that all? Is that all? Dominaria through March of the Machine goes in the fall, but not on the year? What is legal in standard? There you go. What's in standard? There has to be a whole site devoted to this. What's in standard legal until late 2025? Late 2025. We don't even know the day. I can't even put on my calendar when Shieldred finally dies. Okay. And then legal until early 2027, legal until early 2030. All right. Okay, so this actually isn't going to kick in until 2027, this kind of rotation. August? That's not that late in 2025. August is like the middle of the year. That's crazy. That's absolutely great. But anyway, I'm spiraling again, guys. I'm spiraling again. Let's go back. Let's go back. Somebody in chat says Final Fantasy is legal and standard. Yeah. If you weren't around for that one, I'm sorry to send you into a crisis for the day. But that is, yeah. All right. Standard is flourishing and there are no changes to the format. Oh, I read that already. Standard was on display at Pro Tour Aether Drift, which showcased a rich and diverse metagame. The big three of Standard have been clearly identified, with Gruul Mice, Esper Pixie, and Domain Overlords being the most popular strategies. Despite this definition at the top of the metagame, those three decks represented only half the field, and the other half was wide open. There's a chance for success with almost any style of deck imaginable right now in Standard. If there is a dragon deck, let's go. I will believe you. Show me the dragon deck and your dragon set, and I will believe you. Let's go. Which is very cool to see. Domain Overlords ended up taking down the Pro Tour and looked dominant all weekend, but since then, it has seen its win rate slowly decline as the meta game adjusts. One of the most exciting aspects of the Standard format is the degree to which it continues to evolve, even between set releases. The self-bounce synergy decks featuring Nurturing Pixie and/or This Town Ain't Big Enough are a well-known pillar of Standard now, but weren't popular until over a month before the release of Magic the Gathering Foundations, despite the fact that the shell of this deck existed in the format ever since the release of Duskmourn House of Horror. They're right. They are right. It feels so long, though. All right. With Tarkir Dragonstorm and Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy on the horizon, it's going to be fascinating to watch the journey of this Standard format. I am very excited to see what players do with these cards and what new decks and strategies emerge. Arena, man. It's different. It's different because Arena, dude. Play hundreds of games so quickly. It feels like... It feels so long. I was doing a video with Simo. It came out today on the channel. You can watch it. Talking about what made Cons of Tarkir a great format. And it wasn't that nothing was broken. Cons of Tarkir had broken cards. It had Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise in Standard with fetch lands. It's absolutely crazy. No commander news? I don't believe there are any commander announcements in this ban announcement. I don't believe that's how that works. Yeah, I mean, there were frustrating cards, but nothing got banned. Nothing. So I don't know. I feel like Arena has changed everything to where it's like 2 weeks into a format and it's just already, to those of us who are used to a different pace, it's already exhausting that you can't block because of Monstrous Rage. It's already frustrating that the best card draw in the format is a green 2-mana card that draws a card when it enters and you can't deal with. You even have to give them map tokens to kill it. Oh my god. And it's just, you only need to get your hand fully eradicated by Hopeless Nightmare once or twice before you never want to do that again. But they're right. It hasn't been that long. And if they're releasing like 6 sets a year, they're saying, look, back in Duskmorn, these didn't even exist. Yeah, that wasn't that long ago, was it? Oh my god. Ooh, it's not fine in best of one. I just wish the best of one best deck could be something other than red someday, but I'm pretty sure that that's just, I'm pretty sure they don't know how to make a red deck that isn't just the most low to the ground kill you thing available. I'm pretty sure that will just always be what that color is. And as long as that's available, people will play it. €2, thank you for the few years of omniscience. We'll talk in a minute. I'll talk to you guys. We'll talk about what you guys would ban. We'll pull up some chat here and talk about what chat wants banned in a minute. Remember when Mono White was the best aggro deck? Yeah, that happened. And Mono Red was still the most played. Did you see the Explorer Tour with 6 out of 8 were Mono Red in the top 8? Is that true? Break my heart. Let me check that out in a minute. Can somebody link me to the results of the weekend Explorer Arena Championship 8? Can somebody like link me to that? I'll open that in a minute. All right. And we'll get into Pioneer because I guess that's relevant. I guess that's very relevant. Do we want to look at those results first or read the Pioneer info? We'll look at the results after. We have continued to keep a close eye on Pioneer since our last banned and restricted announcement and have been happy with both deck diversity and representation of different macro archetypes in the format. There's been a healthy amount of churn in the Pioneer metagame over the last several months, with cards from the last year continuing to make a splash across several archetypes. Emberheart Challenger, Manifold Mouse, and Heartfire Hero have been a central part of aggressive decks, mirroring the standard mice package. Fear of Missing Out and Unholy Annex/Ritual Chamber have been seeing play in Rakdos midrange shells, changing the way the deck has played and giving it a lot more closing power. Yaga, Eater of All, and Scavenger's Talent have created a combo-centric version of Jund's Sacrifice, leaving players with a strong creature combo deck that can play after the Amalia banning. Oh yeah, they did ban her. The Overlord cycle out of Duskmorn have reshaped Enigmatic Incarnation as an archetype, letting it become the primary go-big deck of the format. We have also seen several smaller changes to decks, with cards like Artist Talent in Izzet Phoenix and Valor's Flagship in Greasefang decks, providing a little more consistency and strength to those existing decks. Despite the churn, the Pioneer metagame has remained well balanced, with a large variety of playstyles viable, and no deck or archetype having a problematic win rate or play rate. The metagame continues to evolve as new decks like Dimir Bounce make their way into the format. We will continue to monitor the metagame as it develops, but at this time we're happy with the state of Pioneer and have no changes to the format. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Thank you very much, Holy, for the link. I'm going to use that in a second. I got to play some Explorer last week for my sponsored content. Explorer it's standard. First game, turn 1 Heartfire Hero, turn 2 Double Strike Mousy. Next game, turn 1 Heartfire Hero, turn 2 Emberheart Challenger, turn 3 Screaming Nemesis. Next game. Turn 1, Hopeless Nightmare. Turn 2, Fear of Isolation. Turn 3, This Town Ain't Big Enough. Cast Hopeless Nightmare. It was a Yorion deck, to be fair. They can't ban any of this stuff in Explorer or Pioneer and get away with it being legal and standard. It just makes them seem crazy. So, here we are. Arena Championship 8. Let's have a look, shall we? At this incredible variety. Anybody else see a trend? That's really unfortunate timing for them as they wrote this, isn't it? Or, you know, they're just gonna say mono red. Mono red hit the metagame perfectly, right? That's it. Mono red just nailed the metagame this weekend. Maybe. Maybe they're right. I love that Teamer Analyst is here. Guys, you remember Aftermath Analyst? And it's a Yorion deck. They're just standard decks. And then you have Elliot Dragon, the man, the myth, the streamer on Is It Phoenix, playing good old pedestrian Treasure Cruise. Somehow the good guy. Insane. What has our world come to? Let's continue. Modern, everybody's favorite. Oh, Jesse Robkin making an appearance here in the article. Actually in the article. Ta-da! To the victor go the spoils. Underworld Breach is banned. To echo a point from the opening of the article, December's update to the Modern ban list did a lot to breathe new life into the format. We've seen Mox Opal, Green Sun Zenith, and Faithless Looting show up in a bunch of decks, to varying degrees of satisfaction from the team here at Wizards. That's a funny sentence. To varying degrees of satisfaction from the team here at Wizards. Wizards is out here getting satisfied based on degrees of play rate of various cards. You know what? It makes sense. It's true. I've just never heard that sentence before. Green Sun Zenith showing up in Yawgmoth and Amulet Titan combo decks was something we anticipated and were happy with. Faithless Looting breathed new life into proactive, graveyard-centric decks like Hollow One is also great. However, Mox Opal teaming up with Underworld Breach to create an explosive and resilient combo deck is not something we're happy with. You see? You see the bias? You see it? They hate. They hate. They hate Teamer. Sure, they'll let Teamer play some dragons, but the second a red, a blue, and a green color come together to combo, they freak out. This deck, so if you missed any results from Modern lately, Teamer Grinding Breach is a combo deck that absolutely took over those formats. And while it's not Nadu levels of nauseating, it certainly can feel that way when it's too much of the meta. Hold on. My nose will not clear. Thank you, Spring. To To give a bit more context, the last couple of months has seen a ton of experimentation with different ways to play with new tools in the format, but over time it has become increasingly apparent that the strongest thing to do in Modern is play a Teamer Grinding Breach combo deck. The deck uses the combination of Underworld Breach and Grinding Station in conjunction with a 0 mana artifact to mill its library 3 cards at a time before winning with a card like Thassa's Oracle or Grapeshot. Reminds me of the Kethis Mox Amber deck from Standard. You guys remember that? Broke the format for like a month before it rotated. The deck is notoriously resilient to graveyard and artifact hate by virtue of its ability to diversify its threats, which made it uniquely difficult to overcome in sideboarding. Between that resiliency and its explosiveness, with it being able to win as early as the first turn, we're confident that it's time to send Breach back to the underworld. Let it not be said that they ain't real writers over there. Bam. A content creator would be proud of that one. With the amount of pressure that Underworld Breach put on the format, we expect the format to change a good bit with its departure, especially sideboards. Previously, we saw players committing well over half of their sideboard to try to suppress the combo. But now we're optimistic that the format can open up a bit and allow for a wider range of strategies to exist. Looking past Teamer Grinding Breach, Modern looks pretty good. A bunch of different decks are showing up. With Orzhov Blink making a name for itself over the last few weeks, Aether Drift has made a major impact on the format, with Ketramos the New Dawn making its way into the Blink decks, Marauding Mako showing up in Hollow One decks, and Stock Up showing up in blue decks that are looking to play a longer game. Also like Standard, that's something. We're planning on keeping an eye on the decks that were strong enough to hang despite Teamer Grinding Breach's prevalence. Boros Energy decks and Dimir Oculus decks, as well as Eldrazi variants, Amulet Titan, and the Orzhov Blink deck. We're watching Red-White Energy variants. I felt like that was the craziness for a while. The closest to see if reasonable counterplay emerges in the coming regional championship qualifier season, and we're excited to see what players cook up. Is CGB reading a third Standard section? Stock up in everything. Stock up in everything. We'll see if it makes it. Can we get some Standard cards in Legacy? That's what I'm wondering. Legacy. Troll of the... I gotta read this. Troll of Khazad Doom is banned. Sowing Mycospawn is banned. Do we have any Legacy players? I need a thorough explanation. By the numbers, the Legacy of today does a good job of emulating a balanced format. The most played deck, Dimir Reanimator, isn't taking too large of a piece of the pie, and the next handful of decks consistently showing up aren't doing so at clips that are wildly out of bounds. The issue is that, despite having several different decks, the format's slower macro archetypes, like midrange and control, have largely been pushed out of the metagame as environmental pressures have wildly condensed the games. Further, player sentiment and event attendance has trended downward. How much is a Legacy deck? Anyway, just wondering. It's apparent to us that the people who love to play Legacy do not love to play today's Legacy, so we're taking a couple of steps to try to improve the format. Maybe I can help them. Ban everything printed in the last 4 years. Let the boomers have a boomer format. Kill the power creep at every level and let the boomers play boomer magic. There you go. Let them have their own island that they can all play boomer magic on, like a retirement home. Easy. Easy solution. It can be like Jurassic Park, but for MTG dinosaurs. They can live in a nice, quiet place, and if they never leave, the rest of us can go on in peace. Okay. Anyway, Dimir Reanimator. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the deck that broke the Troll of Khazad-dûm, shall we? Oh my god, 4 copies. Animate Dead. Good card. Where's Reanimate? There it is. Reanimate. Good card. So you're telling me the problem... You're telling me... This is... Okay, so this is tempo, basically. This is like turn 1 or 2, you have a troll on the field. Turn 2, you have a troll on the field. Then you protect it with Daze. And you protect it with Force of Will. It seems to me like this whole deck still kind of exists without the troll. I mean, you just entomb an Atraxa. Like, what the heck are we doing? Troll has been a big part of Legacy for almost 2 years now, with some form of Dimir Reanimator being the strongest deck in the format since approximately the release of Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. Guys, is the One Ring still legal in Legacy? It's unblockable, bro. Who blocks anyway? Okay, did anybody in the Magic world call that the Troll of Khazad-dûm would be banned before the One Ring? Anybody? Okay. Unbelievable. It's Reanimator being the strongest deck in the format since approximately the release of The Lord of the Rings: Tales of Middle-earth TM. It has an extremely unique impact on deck building, allowing players to fill their deck with cards like Reanimate and Animate Dead without having to play a bunch of big creatures that might otherwise be dead cards in their hand, or playing as many discard cards as possible to get big cards into the graveyard. This subversion of opportunity cost has meant that Reanimator has been exceptional at playing a fair game while threatening an intensely unfair game for the better part of 2 years. We believe that the Reanimator strategy is a core part of what makes Legacy feel like Legacy and is fun to have in the format. We've learned that the deck is more fun and less frustrating to play against when it must be a more committal synergy deck that isn't afforded the luxury of straddling the line between a tempo-y aggro deck and a combo deck. For that reason, Troll of Khazad-dûm is banned. I don't play Legacy, so somebody tell me if I am taking crazy pills. Is it crazy for me to think that they're just going to add Oliphant and fetch a mountain that makes black mana instead of a swamp? What? Are we banning Oliphant now? Is Oliphant in the crosshairs? How did this... Did this solve anything? Can't free cast Daze with Badland. I guess so. So, you also got to run like some Steam vents and stuff, or I don't know. I'm sure there's a way you can do it. It's blockable. Look, again, I don't play Legacy. Are you telling me that the problem in Legacy is that nobody can block? Because let me tell you something about Standard right now. We can't block either. Get over it. Blocking has always been dead. Are you kidding? What? Blocking is for limited and limited alone. What are you talking about right now? Just wait till they find out about Monstrous Rage in Legacy, you guys. You guys are terrified of Super Minache. This is funny. All right. On the other side of format speed, Eldrazi and other colorless strategies have been prevalent in Legacy since they got a boost from Modern Horizons 3 last summer. Generally speaking, these decks have presented the issue of completely sidestepping the rules of engagement in the format, making them extremely hard to interact with. Last December, the strongest version of this strategy was using Vexing Bauble as insulation against cheap spell interaction for a fast combo. But now, colorless strategies have positioned themselves to have the best inevitability in the format, with a good chunk of that inevitability coming from a single card. Is it the One Ring? Nope. Guys, it's Sowing Mycospawn. They are nerfing the Eldrazi. Are you kidding right now? This is the deck. They had to shut down this Waterscape Battle Mage shit right away. All right. Sowing Mycospawn does it all. In the context of colorless Eldrazi, it can grab late game cards like Eye of Ugin and some interactive lands like Blast Zone or Karakas, but most frequently, it is grabbing copies of Wasteland. Thanks for the Prime spoilers. To exacerbate the strength of its land exiling effect. Oh my god, it's a two land destruction cards in one. That's toxic. That land exiling effect can notably target basic lands, which is a class of card that is more fun when it's a reliable out to other land hating cards in the format like Wasteland and Blood Moon. Sowing Mycospawn is so good at attacking lands, often 2 at a time, and even hitting basic lands, that it has caused environmental pressures on the format, compressing games to the first handful of turns and putting the Magic play experience at risk. Who is gonna think of the Legacy players? For these environmental reasons, as well as the violation of format heuristics, Sowing Mycospawn is banned. Dude, the Commander players have infiltrated Legacy. They're upset at land destruction. They've always had turn 1 Wasteland. What are we talking about? In the coming weeks, we'll be keeping an eye on the prevalence and win rates of various all-in combo and fast mana decks that bubbled to the surface of Legacy. Blood Moon Stompy and Oops All Spells are prime examples of decks that have seen their meta share rise in the past few months with the density of modal double-faced land cards in Modern Horizons 3, both currently within bounds of play rates and win rates that have been historically acceptable. Ideally, the above changes will create space for more counterplay against these decks over time. Am I mad about no bans in Standard? We're gonna get back. We're coming back to it, guys. I promise. We'll revisit. I've got to read every single format's discussion point, because why the hell not? I only get to do React content like this so often, and this is how I squeeze every last bit of watch time second out of this mother. All right. Vintage. Obviously, we love vintage here on the channel. No changes. There are no changes to vintage with this announcement, but there was much more discussion about one card and its place in vintage, and that card is Lurrus of the Dream Den. Last August, we restricted Urza's Saga for a few reasons, one of which was the hope that it would reduce Lurrus's prevalence in the format by weakening decks. Wait, Lurrus is still legal? Am I crazy? Oh, hold on. I thought Lurrus was banned in Vintage. They'll get to it. Format by weakening decks looking to utilize a toolbox of cheap artifacts. While Lurrus Saga decks are essentially gone, and the diversity of Lurrus decks has increased, the metagame share of the Lurrus of the Dream Den has also increased over time. Lurrus was banned before. See, I knew it. For 9 months in 2020 through 2021 under the original companion rule. It was the only power level ban that Vintage had seen in many decades. Wonder why, but felt necessary at the time. Once the companion rule was changed, we unbanned Luris in the vintage spirit of keeping as many cards as possible legal. At the time, we said it was an experiment and one we'd be willing to revert if necessary. I mean, now it takes you a Black Lotus to draw your Luris. We had the discussion about whether this was still true. In short answer is yes. If Luris becomes a significant enough metagame problem, we will ban it. At the moment, however, we are not close to that threshold. That threshold is, of course, fuzzy. Just like a good Luris, he's a cute kitty. But we'd need to see a much staler metagame concentrated around just a few Luris builds and an even higher metagame share for Luris. There are cards banned in vintage, dexterity cards, subgame cards, poor Charizard, sticker and attraction cards, hallelujah, and so on. They are banned in all formats for tournament logistics issues. While the companion mechanic is not much of a logistical issue, it has a unique interaction with vintage and the restricted list. Because of this, banning in vintage is on the table for a card with the companion mechanic. We won't let the format stagnate to preserve the clarity of a rule that already has exceptions. What does that mean? What are they saying? Is there something I'm missing that's different in vintage? So we'll continue to keep an eye on things with Luris, both in tournaments and with player sentiment. Overall, the vintage metagame looks healthy based on recent results. The continuing presence of Luris doesn't seem to be stifling overall diversity and innovation. Unique interaction. I don't know. Like, I feel like they're saying that somehow it's is being restricted somehow a problem? Unique interaction with Black Lotus. Yes, very unique. Incredibly unique. I don't know. Pauper! Dude. They went after Pauper with a hammer, you guys. What gets a card banned in Pauper these days? The Sidil, thank you for the prime over there on Twitch. I appreciate you. Basking Broodscale is banned. Kuldotha Rebirth is banned. Deadly Dispute is banned. Prophetic Prism is unbanned. And High Tide is unbanned. If you guys don't know these cards well, let's do a quick read. Basking Broodscale out of Modern Horizons 3 is on Arena. 2/2 Devoid Eldrazi Lizard. The adapt is 1, and whenever one or more counters are put on this, you make an 0/1 Scion. Part of many infinite combos. Kuldotha Rebirth is... it's Gleeful Demolition, but less versatile. It's 1 red for a sorcery. As an addition to cast it, sack an artifact to make 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Then we have Deadly Dispute. You guys probably know this one. 1 in a black, sack a creature, draw 2, and make a treasure. Pretty straightforward. Prophetic Prism is unbanned. This is color fixing in the colorless zone. And High Tide, an old banger of a card right here, is unbanned. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps an island, that player adds an additional blue. I mean, guys, I don't know what's going on here. High Tide looks like the best card in this list to me, but it does say island. So that might have something to do with my opinion. Pauper is banning these cards and is unbanning High Tide and Prophetic Prism. These bans are aimed at removing the Broodscale combo deck, tuning down the strength of the Ichor Wellspring Sacrifice engine by removing the ubiquitous Deadly Dispute. I don't want you to ban the Wellspring. And taking some power and polarity out of mono red. Oh God. They have to herp. They're willing to take the power and polarity out of mono red in Pauper, but in standard, it's fine. Gavin gets it. Gavin understands. Gavin understands. Mono red. The same freaking deck for like 20 years. It's fine. This is fine. Anyway, we move along. Anyway, there's a whole article about this if you guys would like to read more. Whoa, we got paragraphs on alchemy. Let's see how many of these cards I actually know. Rebalances play an important role in this format as we dial in cards with more frequent changes. Our last round of rebalance changes looks to have been very successful at pulling the life gain and heist decks within the bounds for the format. Goblin Sidekick is playing a more supporting role in the life gain deck. Golden Sidekick, rather, the bat. And Impetuous Lootmonger, I know you, is no longer the payoff for playing your opponent's cards that it once was. Selesnya Rabbits remains a powerful option for players, even with the additional mana cost added to Buxton. So what did they do to this? I don't see any changes. Did I miss something? The treasure enters tapped. But this doesn't say that. Okay. How much is Buxton now? Like, they don't have the rebalance cards linked here with their gatherer. That's really actually funny. New cards from Alchemy Aether Drift are making an impact on the format. Noctamoon shines again. I actually don't think I've ever played this card. It's been a powerful addition to cheap creature decks, while Trackhand Trainer, you got Merfolk in Alchemy. It conjures a training grounds. That's crazy. That's awesome. And Ornate Imitations. For each number between 1x, conjure a duplicate of a random creature. I mean, that's just fun. That's just a fun card. Added a splashy new Simic Exhaust archetype to the metagame. We are watching the Grixis Chorus deck. I believe I saw Croakies play that, which is showing an impressive win rate with rebalanced Hymn to the Ages and Ribalt Shanty, and may make further changes in the future. Chorus cards are kind of busted. We expect to continue to leverage rebalances to keep the metagame fresh and balanced. Expect another update during Alchemy Tarkir's release. We are excited about the variety and competitiveness in Alchemy right now, and we feel the time is right to run an Arena Championship qualifier weekend with the format this coming May. Ladies and gentlemen, Alchemy is back on the competitive menu, boys. Don't get too excited, all of you, at the same time. Come on, stop celebrating. Guys, please don't rub it in with how excited you are. Don't shove it right down their throats right now. Don't dance on the haters' faces so aggressively. I'm being very sarcastic for those of you who might be like on YouTube wondering if something's happening on Twitch right now, or vice versa. Monstrous Rage is banned in Alchemy, which, by the way, they don't address here at all. You'd think it would be a good time to mention that. Okay. Explorer, no changes. Since the release of Pioneer Masters, the difference between Explorer and Pioneer has become tiny. We are continuing to monitor the Pioneer competitive metagame for cards not on MTG Arena. Out of 411 distinct competitive Magic Online deck lists played in March, only the following cards were missing. Kazul's Toll Collector? Attach target equipment to this? What is this? Warping Whale. This isn't on... Is this really not on Arena? I thought it was. Am I crazy? I thought this was on Arena. Okay, let's go. Battle at the Bridge is not on Arena? Seems like an easy one. Triton Shorestalker is not on Arena. Very easy one. That's a layup. Nissa's Defeat is not on Arena? Isn't this an Hour of Devastation card? Was Hour of Devastation not put on Arena? That's right. That's right. It was... I feel like that was the last set. Hour of Devastation was the great apocalypse of Magic Duels. Where they just, at the last minute, like a few weeks before it was supposed to release on Magic Duels, they just said, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And it was in this like 6-month dead zone before the Arena Ixalan launch. Encroaching Wastes. 4 mana, tap, sacrifice, destroy target non-basic land. This gets played. This gets paid. Roast. Don't roast you. Roast. I believe all of Tarkir is spoiled now, yes? So there's basically a roast replacement that will be in the format anyway. We're exploring new ways to add competitive Pioneer cards like these to Arena. New ways? I know, put them in a booster pack. Sell it in the store. Done. Historic, no changes. Continues to be our most diverse format in Magic Arena. With no deck above 5% of the overall play rate. Is that true? Is Historic cooking? Is this where it's at? The format has stayed mostly the same since our last update. One notable change is the rise of powerful Boros enchantments decks with Duskmourn House of Horror cards like Shelter by Ghosts and... Take it back. I take it back. It's standard extended again. This deck is now competing with other powerful archetypes like Energy Aggro, Izzet Wizards, 5-color Omniscience, and monocolored decks like Elves and Goblins. Wow. We are continuing to monitor its strength and speed of the Energy Aggro deck. We have rebalanced a few cards already and will continue to do so if this powerful deck starts to take up too much of the format. All right. Timeless. No changes to Timeless. Hold on. We're saving the best for last, obviously. Brawl. Let's go. The largest addition to Timeless has been Chrome Mox. Hell yeah. Adding fast mana ramp option at the cost of a card in your hand. The card saw a lot of play when it was released with Aether Drift, but has since been on the decline, as not all decks benefit from the effect. You're right. You're right. Free mana is not good for everyone. Chrome Mox and Bright Glass Gear Hulk have pushed birthing ritual decks to become one of the top performing options in the format. Early data suggests that this archetype is holding its own against Show and Tell, Charbelcher, and Energy Aggro. It will be exciting to see if it can maintain that performance as counterplays are established in MTG Arena's strongest format. You gotta love that they like have these really colorful lines that they add to this that do make you like, they're trying to also get you to play these formats, right? So if you specifically tuned in to be like, WTF, no bans in Standard. Oh, Timeless is a very powerful, diverse format. I should probably go play that. Who actually plays it? Some people play it. Historic has 28,000 played matches in Mars, according to untapped.gg. Classic Mars play rates. All right. Hype Man, thank you for becoming a member. Brawl, no changes. Brawl continues to grow on MTG Arena as more players engage with the unique 100-card singleton format. With each new Alchemy release, we have seen a good uptake of the new commanders, giving players more options to build around. See, they're selling Alchemy as a Brawl set. I'm telling ya. Currently, 85% of all Brawl matches end in a turn 2 concession. Nope, sorry, I read that wrong. Currently, 85% of all Brawl matches give both players a close to 50% chance to win based on their commander choice. We continue to monitor and adjust matchmaking with each release to best match similar decks and commanders together for fun and exciting games of Magic. It's a take. It's a take. It's a take. We had an opportunity here today when you're actually acknowledging a widely played format in a big ban article to unban Ugin the Spirit Dragon just before the release of Tarkir, and you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Mana Drain, fine. Chrome Mox, fine. Dark Ritual, whatever. I can take all of it. Let me cast my fucking 8 mana Planeswalker. Also, Field of the Dead, let's go. Please. Please, some Field of the Dead. I would love it. The problem with Field of the Dead is you end up building every mana base into a Field of the Dead mana base now. That's the problem with Field of the Dead. But hey, guys, in case you're just joining, we did it. We milked every single word of this article like proper content creators. Thank you. Gosh, over 2,000 people between both platforms. My most watched live stream in a minute. Love you for that. Let's take your suggestions. Just a reminder, Standard, no changes. Pioneer, no changes. Modern, Underworld Breaches banned. Legacy, Sowing, Myco Spawn, and Troll of Kazakh Doom is banned. If there are any Legacy players, we should talk. We should talk. Basking Brood Scale, Kuldotha Rebirth, Deadly Dispute, Prophetic Prism, High Tide, etc. So yeah, guys, let's go there. Tell me either what should have been banned or what should have never been banned. Talk to me. Talk to me, goose. Let's see if I do this. Can I like pull people up on? How can I want to somehow like open a window with people's chats in it, but I don't think I can do it on YouTube. I think that is specifically a Twitch thing that I can do. Omniscience. So here we go. Here's my popping off. If I put them like here and put this over here. Ah, not like this. Nope, nope, nope. Jeez. Ah. Okay. Windows just has its opinions these days about where I can where I can put a window. There we go. I mean, you guys going crazy here. And then I got my Twitch peeps. Where you at, Twitch peeps? Pop out. We're talking to the people now. It's your show now, guys. It's your show. What do you want banned? What do you want sent to the Shadow Realm? What do you want unbanned? A lot of monstrous rage. A lot of monstrous rage talk. Let's see here. Monstrous rage. $5. Congrats on the Black Lotus. Yep, thank you. Appreciate that. A little off topic, but I appreciate the love. Very nice. So monstrous rage. You want monstrous rage banned in Standard. Let's talk about monstrous rage in Standard really quick. Embercleave never got banned. Embercleave ruined blocking in Standard, but Embercleave, it was like turn 3 was the earliest you could do it, right? Monstrous Rage ruins blocking in Standard on turn 2. That's really early to make a part of the game useless. I don't know how people who say they don't mind rage don't mind rage. Like, do you play all removal spells? Have you never tried to block? You would think I would be that guy, right? You'd think I would be like, just kill it. The problem with it is I have to try to make different decks every day for content, and I've kind of given up on it because, quite frankly, so much of the format is dead to that very problem that you just, I don't know, man. I have a video that will never be released. A game I almost released strictly, like I was going to release this video as like a 5-minute video, and it was just going to be the problem with Standard. And it was, I played turn 1 Llanowar Elf, turn 2 Pugnacious Hammerskull. You guys know that one? 6/6 dinosaur that can block. You know that one? Yeah. I'm on the play, by the way. The next turn, I played another Llanowar Elf and another Pugnacious Hammerskull. I played turn 1 elf, turn 2 6/6, turn 3 6/6 and elf. What do you think happened in that game? My first Pugnacious Hammerskull died a horrible death, got trampled over terribly by a mouse. And my second Pugnacious Hammerskull and the elf got double struck, trampled, and I died to lethal damage by a mouse. I blocked with 13 toughness on my turn 2 and turn 3. And I was dead before turn 4. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, what are we doing here? I don't know. That is basically the last time I tried blocking in standard. That's really bad. But apparently it's okay. Apparently it's okay. So the reason you're not going to get that clip, the reason I can't release that game, I may have said things I regret as a grown man, content creator with an audience about a game I love. I may have said some things I don't want on the internet, guys. We'll just put it that way. Use your imagination. But I agree, like, Monstrous Rage is banned in Alchemy. The video I made for Alchemy this season, my very first opponent played Manifold Mouse. And my very next opponent played Heartfire Hero Manifold Mouse. And my next opponent played a nerfed Heartfire Hero, by the way, an 0-1 Heartfire Hero and a Manifold Mouse. It didn't stop anybody. It's not stopping anybody from playing the same deck. It's just the card that makes blocking impossible, that actually makes it really hard to defeat them. So, I agree. I think Monstrous Rage, oh my god, a combat trick. The fact that it's actually banned in Alchemy says a lot. The format where they could have rebalanced it and just taken the role out of it, but nah, they just banned it instead. Crazy. All right, what else we got? But CGB, ban the beans. Ban the beans. Who do you guys... All right, guys. Who here wants Up the Beanstalk banned? Anybody want the Beanstalk banned? It's not as bad in Best of 1. It's a lot worse in Best of 3, where things like Best of 3, if you guys remember Rafine, you remember Rafine Esper. Best of 3 for a long time, everything gravitated into the middle, into mid-range, because that's how Best of 3 works. The deck with the best sideboard options can stop the aggro decks and beat the control decks, so it all comes together in the middle, and that's how you end up with mid-range soup standard. Beans breaks that by giving these decks a way to go over the top of mid-range and have a ton of card advantage doing it. In Best of 3, Beans keeps standard from becoming a mid-range fest, which, if you remember, at the time they said they didn't want it to be. They didn't want standard to be a mid-range fest. But maybe it's too good at that. Maybe it's way too good at that, because a domain deck, if we look up, I'm pretty sure the first Pro Tour event of last year was won by Domain. And it's possible, like, we have to go back, right? Domain has won so many events now. It just keeps winning. By the way, thank you. This is D for the gifted subs. You're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool. Oh, it's 10 of them. You're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool. You're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool. Domain doesn't count as mid-range. It's closer to mid-range now than it used to be, but it goes big. It's a big mana deck for sure. It's definitely more of a ramp deck than a mid-range deck. So, I don't know, man. I feel like I've seen enough Domain. It will rotate in the fall, right? At least Domain cards will. I don't think that'll be it, though. I think it'll probably be a deck until Beans is gone. The card's just too good, man. Why does it draw a card when it enters? Why? It's absolutely crazy. Now, over here, we've, like, I would be down for a Beans ban. It got banned in Modern. I just, it's exhausting. Third priority, Omniscience. You want Omniscience banned in best of one. What do you think the win rate on that Omniscience deck is? Let me see. This is, so Beans again is not a problem in best of one. So a lot of like the format that you guys, that I play, wouldn't even be very affected if Beans got banned, to be honest. It exists in best of one, but the format's so aggressive that you're always playing the inferior 4-color slow pokey strategy. You know what I mean? But what about this Omniscience deck? Because a lot of people have talked about that. Ooh, guys. Oh, go. Number one win rate today. 57.4% versus 57.3%. By 0.1%, ladies and gentlemen, a blue-white deck, a combo deck, is the highest win rate in best of one standard at the moment. Now let's look at the next 4 decks. Mono red aggro, Boros Auras, which is probably just like Sheltered by Ghosts in a red deck, and the Hexproof card. Rakdos aggro, which is mono red goblins, which is a different kind of mono red. So you can't go after the Omniscience deck if you're not going to touch mono red. It's a 0.4, it's a 0.1% difference. All you're saying if you would go after Omniscience and not red is that you're a biased Whittle Quai baby. You don't like that deck more than that deck. Now you could say play patterns. Well, I don't get to do anything against Omniscience, and they take a bunch of game actions, and there was nothing I could do. Omniscience, the Omniscience deck is all in. It has one move and it needs it to work. It absolutely needs it to work. It isn't that hard to divert it. You just have to do things you don't want to do. So for me, it was like 3 Rest in Peace in my blue-white control deck on my final Mythic push because I played against that Omniscience deck so much. But it made that win, it was a free win. There's nothing you can really do against mono red that makes it free. Also, this is a best of one problem. In best of 3, the Omniscience deck is good, but it's not great because they get all those sideboard things. I don't think anything will happen to the Omniscience deck. I get the frustration. There are some decks that cannot be good while Omniscience is good without playing some cards that you want to play. It's frustrating because I think Omniscience would be a much worse deck if green creatures were playable, like Scavenging Ooze and the Keen-Eyed Curator just absolutely hose it. But man, I think if mono red can have all these cards that direct it to a turn 3 or 4 win. Why can't Omniscience Graveyard combo have a turn 4 win? So I've got a donation. The mouse package being legal for a long time is going to be a problem. I mean, I know. I know. We get those mice for like another 2 years. Oh my God. Somehow them being so cute makes it more infuriating. Crazy. What else do you want banned? I don't think they can touch Omniscience except maybe in best of one, and then I don't, or Abuelo's Awakening or any piece of that deck. I think a turn 4 combo deck is reasonable when you have a turn 3 aggro deck. I think that's absolutely true. I don't think you can break that. You have to deal with one to deal with the other. Pixie? What would you ban? I don't think there's anything in Pixie that you can ban that would fix it. I think This Town is a really good card, but there are even some versions of Pixie that were cutting it down to 1 or 2 copies. Like, I think, especially now that we've seen Tarkir and there's another card coming out that bounces, like, guys, it's not actually gonna fix anything. It's just gonna make people a little spicy. Storm Chaser's talent is the problem? Is that even close to true? There's a black-white version of the deck that's doing just fine that doesn't run it at all, obviously. Or This Town ain't big enough. I think my biggest problem with the lack of bans... Here's the thing. I see it. This is a theory. This is a theory. This is just me looking at the situation. I think the people who are designing Standard like Modern more than Standard. And I think they want Standard to be like Modern. I think they want it to be fast and kind of busted. And a bit repetitive. Because I think there is proof that players who love Modern, therefore have what I'll call a Modern mentality, will stick through anything. They will hang in there through anything and keep playing and keep grinding. And I think that's who the designers are designing Standard for. Those players. Players who are gonna play their deck every weekend for 3 years and look at every set through a lens of, does this card slightly improve this sideboard slot? Does this card slightly improve this matchup? And make small changes, not big ones. And I think that if they ban any piece of Standard right now, it sets a weird precedent because there's so much redundancy. Like, you ban Monstrous Rage. If the problem that you say was there is like these turn 3 kills, it's still there. All right, we're gonna see how good those other combat tricks like Turn Inside Out are. You know what I mean? It's still there. So if speed was the problem, you don't solve it with a ban of one of these cards. And if interactability or play patterns is the problem, you don't solve it by banning really Omniscience. Like, there was still like other Graveyard Reanimator decks that are basically like, here's a Valgavoth on turn 4, so the mono red aggro deck has to fold, you know? That was there. You guys remember the Reenact the Crime deck? So I just think that they're not designing Standard for our, oh my God, change something now because I'm bored mentality. I think there is an honest, I think that there is an intention to not listen to us on this subject, because if we are the type of people who get frustrated that there's an Omniscience combo deck that just emerged 2 months ago in our 3-year format and we want it banned, they're like, well, get over it. Please try playing more competitive MTG and adjust, right? They're trying to make us adjust instead of solving every problem and using the ban list as a way to keep things fresh and interesting. And instead, they're trying to appeal to longer term players who grind it out and get really sweaty. And whether you're saying it or not, what you are asking to do when you're yelling ban this, ban that, I love it because I'm a content creator. I love shakeups. I'm telling you guys, I'm with you on a lot of this. I really love changing formats, but part of it is that we don't want to do the changing ourselves with the tools available. We just want the thing that other people are using against us that we don't like taken away, so that then we get to play other things. It is kind of a selfish mentality. I agree with Kibler. The format is narrow. Beans is too good. Beans is insanely good. Monstrous Rage is insanely good. And I think that that's the way they want it to be. When I was looking at the cons format and remembering it, it was like, we remember it fondly, but people wanted Siege Rhino banned. People wanted Dig Through Time banned. People wanted Jeskai Ascendancy banned. People wanted Treasure Cruise banned. They wanted Jace Vryn's Prodigy banned. Like, these were all things people clamored to have banned. They didn't ban anything, and the format's remembered fondly. Arena's the difference. Now on Arena, we can play, in one weekend, we can play enough games to feel like we know the format, and if we didn't have a good time, we're like, please change something. And I don't think that they're banning based on Arena, based on like we play grinding Arena every day experience. So here's what they should do. They should change the dailies. If we only need 5 wins a day and they paid good rewards, we wouldn't feel like we had to play the format and get ultra sick of it, right? Wait a minute. Is that true? I guess I don't have the data. How many of you guys, how many of you in chat keep playing Arena after you complete your dailies? How many of you go over 15 wins regularly? Okay. For those of us that regularly do our dailies or more, it is probably impossible to keep us happy. You could ban something every day, and we'd probably still find ways to complain. You could have a rotating ban list of on Tuesdays, there's no Monstrous Rage. And we would never be happy because we play too much. We get sick of everything. Everything gets old when you play that much. Everything. Everything. You'll never not have a deck to be frustrated with. And for those of us who play like 4 games a day, I think it's a different experience. So I think, honestly, I'm serious. Like, maybe they feel like they have to engage their hardcore fans. I think they should drop the Arena dailies, man, down to like 5 wins. They've got the achievements now. The achievements help. Those are sweet. I think, dude, I think if you are encouraging people to win 15 games a day on Arena, I just think, yeah, we're always going, you're kind of helping us be miserable in your game. But maybe I'm crazy. I think that there's kind of that honeymoon period that new players go through where they want to play all day. And I don't think this changes that for them. But like 15 games, win 15 games, not play 15 games, win 15 games. People trying to do that on the regular will probably be miserable. Because there's no way to keep somebody who plays that much Magic happy. They'll always be sick of something. I mean, do you guys agree? I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out. Sheltered by Ghosts should be banned. Sheltered by Ghosts is one of the only cards that keeps a lot of like weird creature decks playable. You can splash Sheltered by Ghosts in all kinds of decks. Jeskai, green, like yeah, all of the green-white decks, Abzan. Like you can put Jeskai, you can put Sheltered by Ghosts in any kind of deck with 20 creatures, and you have a chance against red. That's really important. Because right now, nothing, there are so many colors that without it would have no chance. Would have absolutely no chance. So I don't think Shelter by Ghosts can be touched at all. For a while, because it's the only thing that makes some of those decks work. Now, the fact that you just throw it in red and make things even worse is, well, that's something. But man, like there's creature decks just don't work without it. Yes, they did not ban Monstrous Rage. It's still here. Yeah, there's a lot of one-sided games in Best of One. That is going to be the way it is. Screaming Nemesis and Lynx. You must be a life game player. We found a life game main in the Twitch chat, guys. They're coming for Nemesis and Lynx. Ah, gosh, if only we could just ban the cards that we specifically don't like, am I right? They shouldn't make dailies tied to wins. I'm okay with like 4. I'm okay with 4 or 5 wins. I think 15 is insane, but I'm okay with 4 or 5 wins being a good daily. I really am. I think that's okay. Guys, what's the right number of wins to cap dailies on? And I'm not saying take away dailies. Or like take away the reward. I'm saying front load the reward. Put more rewards in win 1 through 5 instead of spreading them out over 15 wins. 30? Dude, like, have you been outside in ever? 1 is a bit too friendly. 7 is okay. I could respect 7. 100. $30 a week? That's okay. Take away the rewards and the motivation is gone. I want to have a reason to play. You don't like number go up? I'm not saying to take away other reasons to play. I'm just saying wins, specifically in the category of wins, because that's where I feel like a lot of our soul gets sucked from playing against these standard decks over and over. I think it actually would help some of the mentality, because like I said, I think they're going with a more modern mentality where they're trying to keep decks the same and have less like a rotating format, closer to an eternal format. And I think with that mentality, you have to also stop putting your players in a position to make themselves miserable. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is just the freedom we have as players to be as to make ourselves as miserable as we need to by spamming ourselves in this game and being as absolutely addicted as we want to be. Maybe I'm just wrong about that. Change them from wins to matches. No, best of one forever. Thank you for the €2, but shut your mouth. The goal of WotC is to get people to invest into paper standard. I hate the term invest. I don't like using it with regards to anything to do with a format or a card. But is it their goal to get you to spend money on paper cards specifically? I don't feel like, honestly, I don't feel like they've done as much as they could with Arena in that regard. So I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure that's true. I think that they've let Arena be its own world a lot more than I honestly expected. It's crazy. Anyway, guys, those are thoughts on bans. It looks like buckle up. It doesn't sound like they want to change standard at all, unless it's some kind of emergency, until August. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I do encourage you. I've been trying to be a better role model about this myself. I've been trying to do better at this myself. I encourage you to go outside, play more Commander. You can do almost anything in Commander. Try other formats, see if something sticks. Don't keep playing when you're sad. Don't over lock in on a rank. It hurts the soul, man. Play it to learn something. Play it with a goal outside of rank go burr. I'm really working on this. I encourage you to do the same. But seriously, Commander, whew. Commander is good. It's a good format. I recommend it highly. I hope many of you come with me and check out Commander. The place where all the cards can be amazing. And, of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for joining me for Ban Monday and the drama therein. You can hit subscribe. I encourage you to subscribe on YouTube where I put all of my content. And I do love you guys. I'll see you in the future. I'm going to go make some Commander videos. You're cool.